Hello, my name is Andy and I am the village idiot, and I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. Welcome back to Bassetlaw, and we are in the home stretch. There are just 6 more to visit in this district of northern Nottinghamshire, and this morning I'm on a riverbank, and it's a river you'll probably recognise because we've seen it earlier this week. In fact, I was on the other side of the river at that point on Monday, and you might recognise that church. That's East Stockwith. Well, today I'm over the river, over the county boundary from West Lindsey into Bassetlaw, and this is West Stockwith. West Stockwith is a village I've been looking forward to covering for quite a while. I love this place, and if you're unfamiliar with it, I'm hoping by the end of this video you'll see why. It lies within the Bassetlaw district of Nottinghamshire, but only just, because here we are in the very northeastern extremity of the county. Over the border to the north is North Lincolnshire. The population at the 2011 census was 327. It lies on the western bank of the River Trent, 3 miles northwest of Gainsborough and 1.5 miles east of Misterton. Earlier this week I showed you East Stockwith in the West Lindsey series, and much like West Stockwith in that episode, from various parts here we get some great views across the river to it. You'll recall that East Stockwith was linked to West Stockwith at one time via a passenger ferry. The ferry was just one of the many ships and water-based craft that would have at one time used the Trent. The water here truly was the centre of industry. West Stockwith is located on 3 watercourses: the Trent, the River Idle and the Chesterfield Canal. Local industry now centres on grass and potato merchants, and there's a former Trentside chemical works that is now an industrial park with a variety of businesses. The industry related to the river has now gone, but look closely and you'll see some telltale signs of its past. So all along Main Street's length you have these, which just look like footpaths, and they are effectively footpaths I suppose, but they've got a special name. They're called water lanes, and they give access to the bank of the River Trent. There are all kinds of signs of the industrial past here, but the well-preserved water lanes do it best. They allow access from the road to the banks of the River Trent, even via a ginnel under part of one property. So I don't think there's a shop in West Stockwith anymore, but it looks like there used to be, because here we have village store. That's a house now. West Stockwith was known for shipbuilding, most notably craft named Cuckoo Boats. You'll recall the Cuckoo Way, the canal's towpath, from previous episodes, and this is likely how it got its name. There are many old boaters who insist that the term cuckoo refers to the boatmen and not the boats. That's because the boatmen on the Trent thought the boatmen on the Chesterfield Canal were mad, terming them cuckoo for venturing onto the wild river in such craft. The last Cuckoo boats were built in the 1920s in Tomlinson's yard at West Stockwith. The last 2 boats to be working commercially were named Lord Milton and Lady Milton, run by the Hewitt family. West Stockwith's presence on the Trent was important for another reason. Warp, a fine natural silt dredged from the river, was transported via the Chesterfield Canal. It was taken from West Stockwith to Walkeringham, where it was dried in the kilns and used as a powder to polish metal in Sheffield's cutlery trade. Unlike other places in the region which have with in their name, the second element here is Old Norse for ford or river crossing. The first element is less clear, but it's believed to be much like East Stockwith, meaning tree trunk. The name was recorded as West Stockwith in 1139. The village housed workers who were employed in many trades on the river. There were once more than 11 public houses, many in the front rooms of today's cottages, which still contain evidence of their past use. There was something called the Hospital Day too, which was traditionally held in July to raise money by children dressing up and decorating floats, which were usually farmers' wagons. There's no school here now either, that's also closed, and both that building and the former master's premises are now private houses. I don't care what anyone says. Open, flat countryside like that will always look beautiful to me, always. Modern day West Stockwith has a demographic that looks a little something like this. In 2019, the population was mainly white British at 99.4%. That's a population that spread over 3.4 square kilometres, a fairly small area of Bassetlaw, giving it a population density of 93.61. The average house price for this one seems to be just below £200,000, but there's no accurate information on it within the last 12 months via my usual sources. Generally though, that's the price region houses have been going for looking through the latest sales. Long gone are the days of there being 11 pubs, there are now only 2. The White Hart is one, which opened the Idle Brewery in 2007 and sells to other pubs in the area. The other is the Waterfront Inn, and this is a pub and a restaurant close to the Chesterfield Canal. It's also where you come across some camping options. Really avid campers out there. Can you see those 2 wooden lodges here next to the Waterfront Inn? I think they're called glamping pods, aren't they? I'm not totally... yeah, glamping pods. It even says it. It says it on the pub there, glamping pods. I wonder what it'd be like to spend a night in one of those. Behind the waterfront is Waterfront Country Park. This is a touring caravan site situated in an attractive setting on 5 acres of flat, level grassland. The parish church of St Mary the Virgin at West Stockwith was built in 1722 and is arguably one of the village's most easily recognisable buildings. It was built by the executors of local shipyard owner William Huntington. It's a Georgian rectangular building, a single chamber forming both chancel and nave. William Huntington was a ship carpenter. The main feature inside the church is a life-size marble monument of him, the artist being an E. Poynton. Bus-wise, West Stockwith is served by the Bassetlaw Bells. These are the 97 and 98 services to Retford, Doncaster, Bawtry and Gainsborough. There are no shops, but I did pass this neat little market stall where, according to this sign, you can obtain potatoes and fresh vegetables. The old red phone box here is dubbed the West Stockwith Information Point, although it seemed a little empty inside. Mind you, I did find some leaflets in here about the Trolleybus Museum at Sandtoft. See the Belton episode of North Lincolnshire for that. The village hall is named the Gertrude Morris Memorial Hall. In much the same way as usual with village halls, this is the community's central hub, running as it does many clubs and activities. And there's a small park close to the Trent and the phone box, seen here from the riverbank. Now, as far as West Stockwith's landmarks go, there's a certain watery theme. Not only have we got the Trent, we've also got the River Idle, and we've also got the end of the Chesterfield Canal. The most obvious local landmark is the Trent, and we've seen enough of this just lately to write the book, haven't we? Nonetheless, here's some more information about it. This is the 3rd longest river in the country after the Thames and the Severn. It's 185 miles in total. Passing West Stockwith, it doesn't have far to go to its mouth at the beginning of the Humber Estuary, a fact which historically would have made river and canal transport here very important. Speaking of the canal, it reaches the River Trent at West Stockwith Basin, and joining the two together is the enormous West Stockwith Lock, which we can walk over. The Basin is the northern terminus of the canal. Thanks to various Acts of Parliament going back to 1795, there are records of boats working on the canal. In that year, there were at least 63 narrowboats registered as carrying coal from collieries in the Rother Valley to places between Stockwith and Lincoln. 34 of these were registered at Chesterfield. All had a crew of 2, usually a master and a boy. Commercial traffic on the canal ceased in 1955, after which transportation was transferred to road vehicles. The Basin is now the home of river cruisers and narrowboats for hire and leisure. Whilst only 2 pubs remain in the village, here at the Basin, the bar on the Basin caters to boat owners and holds various events over the year. The site is off Stockwith Road, with the entrance approximately 300 metres from Bridge 85, the last bridge on the canal's route. This structure just behind an iron bridge made by W. Richards and Son of Leicester is the West Stockwith Sluice Gate, forming part of the River Trent Flood Risk Management Scheme. It stands on the River Idle, which originally flowed in a northerly direction to join the River Don. It was diverted along its current course in 1628, thanks to that man Cornelius Vermuyden. He got about a bit, didn't he? The gate was originally constructed in 1938 to prevent the tidal River Trent from flooding the lower reaches of the River Idle catchment. It closes automatically on every high tide. When the original gate had reached the end of its life in 2014, the Environment Agency would replace it in order to sustain the standard of protection to the area. Just upstream from the gate we have West Stockwith Pumping Station. This controls discharge of the River Idle into the River Trent. Normally, discharge is by gravity when the Trent is low, with the pumping station coming in when the Trent is high. You can walk right past it on a footpath to Heckdyke. Between the River Idle and the canal basin is a small garden with a wicker anchor. The small stone underneath it is a commemoration stone for the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II. The main war memorials are located on the north wall of the sanctuary inside the church, but on the corner of North Car Road we have a metal outline of a soldier. The bridge over the River Idle has obvious connections to Leicester, but the Midlands are also featured again here thanks to West Stockwith's postbox, which was made in Birmingham. It's a Ludlow box and has been preserved on a pillar near the phone box ever since the post office closed. Okay, that's pretty much it for the parish of West Stockwith. Although we're not quite finished, there are a few other things I still need to cover. The first of those is the picture bit, and that's coming up in a second. And after that, I've got a friend who's got a drone, and he's given me a little bit of drone footage of West Stockwith, which is really very good. And that's going to come straight after today's picture bit. Here they come right now. Okay, finishing off West Stockwith, we have a railway line and a level crossing. Now, I was expecting this level crossing to be one where I have to ring a bell for someone to come and open the gates, because last time I was here, this was still hand operated. But of course now, it's been fully automated now, and we have railway barriers which we're accustomed to seeing everywhere basically. And this is on the road towards something called Heckdyke Gate, and that's over the parish boundary and into next week's episode. And I'll be talking a bit more about this railway line in that episode, in fact, because there's a former station there which was on this very line. It's still an active line, by the way. It's the Gainsborough to Doncaster line, which we've seen before in various episodes around here. So yeah, we'll be talking about that next week, and I'm about to head right there right now. This has been the parish of West Stockwith, and I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.